everyone out there, this is Banji Lawal for Banji Media. We are here talking about understanding U.S. employment-based visas, otherwise known as EB1A and EB2 National Interest Waiver. And what is it you need to put into consideration to be a beneficiary of this kind of visa program? Again, quick disclaimer. We are not here to tell you that you are going to get a visa if you go through this process. We are here to discuss, we are not here to say it's a guarantee or sure way of getting it, because there's so many factors behind American visa and it's somewhat complicated. In fact, as we progress in this discussion, you will agree with us. But this is it. As I always tell people, if 10 people go somewhere and just ordinary one person get it, that's a sure guarantee that the remaining 9 people, if they do it right and they do it the way the first one did it, there's likelihood that they will get it. And so our mission this moment is to give you the key. And then we are hoping that probably as you are applying the key, you'll be able to open the door. So my prayer is that God will help you in whatever the plan or the system you want to use to get your visa or to get permanent residence in America. Again, my name is Banji Lawal, and we are here for Banji Media, the Evening News, and also for Banji Media Radio. So I'm encouraging you to stay tuned. If possible, take notes and feel free to put a comment down there on the YouTube if you have any information or any idea, or you need some more clarification, and I will try to reach out to our guests to give you more information. So I have 2 guests with me here. The first person I'm going to introduce is Pamela, and then the second person is Adedotun. The good thing about it is that these 2, they are lawyers. They might not want me to say that, but I will say that so that you know the authenticity of what we are discussing tonight. So I want to start with Sister Pamela. Can you please go ahead and introduce yourself to all our viewers and all our listeners?
Yeah, thanks again for having me, Pastor Banji. My name is Pamela Ilobachi, and together we shall navigate this very interesting topic on pathways to getting green card, into the U.S. Thank you.
And then D-Dot, you want to tell people who you are, and then...
Thank you very much, sir, for having me. My name is Adedotun Lusanya. I'm a lawyer, and I would like to discuss with the audience that there's a sure way to acquiring U.S. green card, which people also call permanent residency, through their professionalism.
Thank you so much, both of you. I really appreciate you for agreeing to be here with me. So before we really dive into the discussion, I want us to start by giving the definition or clear understanding what we mean when we say employment-based visa. So I don't know who want to take that first. Maybe Dotun, go ahead. What do we mean? What is an employment-based visa?
So an employment-based visa is essentially a visa that allows foreign-based professional or foreign professionals to acquire the U.S. permanent residency based on a combination of factors. And the major factors include your professional experience and your educational qualifications. At the very least, you should have a degree. It's very important that you have an advanced degree and you have a lot of years of experience. And you would need to show via the combination of your experience and your educational degree what people would say, what you can bring to the table when you come to the United States, like how you're going to positively impact the area of your expertise when you eventually arrive in the United States.
Thank you so much. This second one I'm going to throw to Sister Pamela. It says here the U.S. immigration system offers 5 categories under the employment-based track, EB1 through EB5. I don't know what this means. Again, either of you can answer that question. So, because why did they say 5 categories? Because what I'm seeing here is only 2 categories, EB1 and EB2. But here they say from EB1 to through EB5, meaning we have EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, EB5. Any of you want to take that on or supporting it?
Yeah, I think Brother Dotun will be very apt in that one.
I think so too, because he has done it before.
So the EB1A is the highest category, is the category for extraordinary visa. So what you're trying to show to the US immigration authorities is that you've reached the top 1% of your profession. Whatever profession you are holding yourself out to practice, you've reached the top 1% of it. It is also called the Einstein visa. So when you say you're an Einstein, it means you're extraordinary, you're a genius. And so the US authorities are saying, come show us via different factors that you have reached the top 1% of your profession. So ordinarily, if you can show that you're a Nobel laureate winner, or you're a Grammy Award winner, or you've won the Pulitzer's Award for journalists, for instance, such profound awards that are quite known globally in any field. If any artist tells you he's a Grammy Award winner, definitely you know they're top 1% in the world. If anyone should tell you they're Nobel Prize winner in literature and the likes, you know they're top 1% in their field. So that already shows you are extraordinary. However, the US authorities recognizes that not a lot of people can show via one single award that they've gotten to that stage. So they allow people through about 9 or 10 criteria to show that if you can sufficiently satisfy 3 criteria out of 9, then a combination of all that evidence would show that you've risen to the top 1% of your profession. And this award, it rises to the fact that you can show that you've risen via national recognition, national or international recognition. So if I am saying, for instance, I'm in the top 1% of biological of biologists in Nigeria, you should have written newspapers about me in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Showing that these are the things I've done over a number of years. You should have awards in your field. That's
hold on so what you are saying is it, because I want to make it clear for that. I know you are talking from the professional point of view, but I want to break it down like layman person. So let's say I'm into media, I'm a probably sport commentary, and I'll do that very well in my own country. So you are saying that if by virtue of doing all that, I've succeeded in winning an award, I've been one of the first top percentage achiever on that level, I might be able to use that for this kind of visa.
Absolutely. So there are benchmarks to it. Okay, maybe before I go into the EB1A, I should address the initial question of the 5 categories.
Yes, please.
The EB1A is the extraordinary visa, is the topmost visa.
Okay.
The EB2 national interest waiver is a visa for professionals, saying that.
Sorry, when you say professional, I want you to break it down for me. Who are the professionals? Like scientists?
Yes, the professionals I mean are degree holders.
Okay,
you must have a degree,
and that can be in any
field,
any profession,
in any field.
Even for I read Yoruba.
Exactly. Okay. As long as you can prove to the U.S. government that your area of expertise is of national interest to the U.S. So you mentioned Yoruba. Let me give you an example.
Or history, just for example.
Yes. I would have to prove to the U.S. government, for instance, that if I'm an expert in African history, I could say that the significant population of Black people in the U.S. There are a lot of gaps in history about Africa, their roots, and all of this. And in trying to recognize the history of the Black population in the U.S., you can plug a lot of gaps. These are the works you've done. These are the publications you have made. Those publications are of huge significance in your field. You have played critical roles in your field as a history teacher or Yoruba teacher. So they consider a number of factors, which we'll talk about later. And once you are able to show that it is in the national interest of the US that you coming to the US will impact your field and have a huge advantage to US citizens, then
and it's going to bring some kind of goodies to the US. You are going to contribute to the system.
So it's all about contribution. Okay. Like what people will say, what do you bring to the table?
Absolutely.
Especially, let's bring it to layman terms. The US is saying, what can you bring to the table?
What do you have for us?
Yes, if we allow you as a professional to come over here, that is what the EB2 is all about. You must have a degree at the very least. Okay. Then the EB3, there's the skilled and unskilled. So we'll know that in recent times, a lot of people have been talking about farmers in the US and all of that. There's the EB3 for unskilled, such that professions that do not need a university education, for instance. Due respect to agriculturists, I know they study agriculture and all of that, but in terms of farming itself, people just farm, and by practice they become farmers most of the time. So for you to become farmer, if you're a farmer, you're unskilled, or you're a barber, the way we say it in Nigeria, a hairstylist, or all those things that do not need.
They call them barber here too. See.
Vocational skills that you do not need a formal education for. That is the unskilled category. So you can have a business in the US file for you to say that you are going to work for them based on
so what you are saying is that EB3, you must have somebody already saying they need your service to apply.
You must have a business or a company saying that they need your service, either in the unskilled category or the skilled category. And when we say skilled category, you do not need a university education, high school education, or even primary school certification will suffice, as long as you can show that you have a certification that allows you practice that profession in your country of origin. Then you will satisfy it.
Okay. Now, so you that's EB3, because I want you to complete all those 5 steps that we have, and then I'm going to come back to Sister Pamela so that we begin to look. Is there another option? Because if this look like complicated for people, is there another option? And what are the other options that we have? But meanwhile, continue with that EB4 and 5. Because it's like as it's going up, it's getting gradually easier. Because like EB3 now, you said, this person doesn't need a degree. if you are just like a handyman that knows what you are doing, maybe like a tailor, barber, all those people, as long as you have somebody who needs your service here, probably you are likely to qualify for that. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
You must just have a business in the US that is able to file for you, and usually that business or company would be a tax-paying company, a company that can meet the threshold of the government, that they are able to employ you, and there's usually a range in terms of salary, depending on the state that you are in the US, because we all know that the cost of living in Massachusetts is different from the one in California or Mississippi. Also, there's a particular table that the National Poverty Index that determines the average rate of your salary in that profession. So as long as that business can prove that they are able to pay you the average salary for that state, and they have their books intact in terms of filing taxes in the past, then they can file for the EB3 for you.
Now, it's getting more clearer to me. So, sister, I'm coming to you. You can't escape it. So, what you are saying is this. Let's assume now I have a company, let's say like this thing I'm running, and I need a cameraman. I can't find anyone that can do the service for me here. And I say, hey, maybe I have somebody from back home who's a very top-notch, sharp person that can handle camera effectively. And I say, I will need the service of the person. So, such a person, when I can fight for that person. So I can fight for that person. But what you are saying is that I cannot just say, hey, I'm bringing somebody from Nigeria, let me pay the person $1 per hour. You need to conform with what government of the United States dictate I should pay for the person.
Exactly.
Good.
Because the government is trying to ensure that you're not bringing people through the back door.
Or taking advantage of people.
Exactly. You're not undercutting American domestic workers. People, why should you tell the government that you can't find a cameraman in the US, for instance? You have to give a very valid reason that, maybe in terms of shooting Yoruba cultural values or Igbo cultural values, or it's different, the way we have to do it is different, the nuances in the culture is different, and an American will not understand that, and all of that. If you can prove all of that, then they will give. And very good, you know about most of the Chinese and Indian restaurants we
exactly. They always bring their people to cook for them.
That is the visa, the EB3 for the skilled and unskilled. That is what brings a lot of those foreign nationals to the US. So because those businesses are big businesses, they can file for people, because the way a Chinese will cook the Chinese food, it may take 10 years, 15 years for an American
to learn about it. Yeah.
To learn about it, and you want to deliver the best to your people. So that is a route. The EB4 is a special immigrant visa. It's mainly for religious workers. It's mainly for religious workers. So churches, mosques, and other religions can file for their religious leaders or religious workers to come to the US. So as long as you're a religious organization, you can file for people within your religion to come to, but you must of course prove that these people have a track record of working as either workers within that religion, and that they're either workers or old ministerial posts in that field. Then you can invite them. Of course, you must be a recognized body also.
Exactly, it must be a very known church. Not that any church you have not even getting their footing on the ground.
Exactly. So it's
so if I'm not mistaken, majority of this big time church in Nigeria, that might be probably the visa system they are using to send their missionary to US and all that.
There is two. I don't want to confuse our listeners. There's a visa called R2.
Okay.
It's a non-immigrant visa. That one allows you to work and even bring your family with you. It's a dual purpose visa, but it's a non-immigrant visa. It's called the R2. So most churches, most religious organizations either go through the R2 or they go through the EB4 route. If they are going through the EB4 route, that is an immigrant visa. It's an employment-based visa. So they are declaring to the US government from time ab initio, from the start, that you are coming here to work and get a green card.
Okay.
That is the EB4. But the R2 is saying this person will be for us for 2 years.
Okay.
It is renewable. So after the expiration of that 2 years and you renew it, you can eventually go to Nigeria if you you can go back to your home country if you decide to. So the difference between it is that one is a non-immigrant visa and the other one is a pathway to green card. That is the EB4. And it's mostly for religious organizations. Other organizations use it, but we know mostly religious organizations use it.
So this visa R2 is for you to come to the US?
EB4.
No, you mentioned something about visa R2.
Yes, that one is a non-immigrant visa.
Non-immigrant visa. That is the one you can use for 2 years and go back if you choose to. Okay.
And you can renew it also if you choose to.
Okay. So now, what is EB5 before I turn the table to Sister Pamela? Because I want to ask one specific question about.
So the EB5 is for investors. Simply. Show me the money. So if you have a big business, like the US is open for business. Absolutely. If you can prove that before now, I can't remember, to be honest. I think the benchmark before now was, for the benefit of our listeners, I'll put it in the comments later, but you must meet a certain benchmark. I think it was $80,000 to $100,000 around that, or even lower than that. But in the current administration, President Trump now owns that visa because he brought it out to say, this is the Trump card. That is the EB5. So you must have, I think.
So meaning what we are saying is that if you have enough money to invest in this country, automatically you can be given visa as long as you don't have any criminal record.
Yes. So the US government essentially will do a vetting of your business record. Right now, so I can it's $1,050,000.
So to qualify for that investor's visa,
you need between $800,000 to $1,050,000 to qualify for the EB5. It used to be much lower than that. But
you're gonna send me that information and then more information so that I'll put it on the comment down there. Okay.
So that is if we remember on President Trump's inauguration, he claims that this is the big one. The big one. Investors, if you have the money, you have a good business, of course it should be legitimate and all of that, then the US government will look into your record and say, come invest in our country, employ our people. Every country needs investors. Absolutely. Employ our people, and you will get your green card and your path to citizenship. So, but for the purpose of this discussion, I believe we are focusing on the EB1A and the EB2.
No. Honestly, before now, I didn't even know that we have up to this 5. So we are focusing on everything, but you have succeeded in breaking everything down for me, which we are going to probably we focus more on EB1 and EB2 because anybody that want to throw away, I don't think it's going to have 800,000. If it does, he won't bother to come here. Anyway, before I go further on this one, Sister Pamela, I know people do other things that Dr. didn't mention here. Maybe getting married to a man, getting married to a woman. on your own understanding, do you think there's another option apart from these 5 listed EB visa?
Yeah, thanks again for having me, Pastor Banji. So, under current regulations, there are a couple pathways to acquiring a U.S. permanent residency. One of it would be, matchmaking, people who come in here to get married. Some people have abused it. They begin to make some form of arrangement. And if down the road it is seen that they have entered into such marriage to circumvent immigration benefits, it then destroys the whole purpose, and it's not good anymore. So that's one way. Some people call it arranging marriage. There's nothing wrong in matchmaking, just the way people would match 2 people together to be married, but colloquially speaking, they call it arrangee marriage.
We're going to talk about that, because what you are telling me now, unless we want to deceive ourselves, we have had many people saying it, and we do know there's some kind of implication and problem with that, which we are going to come back. But go ahead and keep on telling me. So we have the one that you call matchmaking, yeah?
Yes, for the sake of our listeners, we'll call it arranging marriage. And there's nothing wrong in an arrangee type of marriage. Much depends on the motive and the intent. If the motive is to circumvent immigration benefits, then it's no longer a legal pathway to obtaining a U.S. green card. But if the intent and if the motive is to get married and settle down, notwithstanding that both parties were matched, it's still valid.
What you are saying invariably is that I find somebody, and in the process of time we love each other, irrespective of whether I have paper, she has paper, she doesn't have paper. We just love each other, and we think that we can marry together, we can live together, we can rear our children together, and then we go ahead and get married. So what we are saying is that under the immigration system of US, if I'm eventually married to a citizen, and that citizen can get me paper to stay in the country, that is the one you mean by matchmaking, right?
That's correct, but I must clarify. Given the illustration you made, you said yourself and the lady.
Sorry, I made a mistake. That one of us must be a citizen.
Yes.
Okay, good. I made a mistake on that. So because 2 of us, if we don't have paper, it's not going to work. So
that's correct. Yes.
But if either of us have paper and we have a legal status in the country, the one that has a legal status can fight for a spouse or a spouse.
That's correct. And that would be a pathway to obtaining U.S. green card. We also have, I wouldn't call it a permanent kind of residency or permanent green card. These are people you call tourists. They come into the country just to visit. It never goes into the permanent category unless a different rule applies. But they can come into the U.S. to do business, to tour cities, to look around, that sort of thing.
And then they expect them that probably they give them visa for 6 months. They expect them after the touring and all that, they should go back to their country.
They return to their place of abode. Yeah, I think under current regulations it's changed. Now I hear from, for instance, one of the West African countries, no more multiple entries. It's now a single entry and it's for 90 days. I know the regulations change every now and then, so it is incumbent on our listeners to always verify all this information from the USCIS website, or consult with an immigration attorney who specializes on green card and immigration area of law. Yeah.
And that brings me to this advice. When I stepped into this country a couple of years back, the first thing I noticed is that this country is like a human being, breathing, changing, dynamic. So what we are discussing today, you can be rest assured that by tomorrow morning, some things might have changed. So anytime you want to take any of the thing that we are talking about here, please verify your information, as my sister said. Make sure you check things, go for the current situation, and then go with that.
I would
Thank you so
just,
much, Sister
I
Pamela.
would also like to add
Yeah,
that
go ahead.
it's very important. This is all for educational purpose. Of
Absolutely.
course, we're not trying to get any legal brief from any of this. It's just for educational purpose for our teaming viewers. Even before you can marry, to go through the marriage route, which is legitimate, we need to establish that this is not limited to the US. It happens almost in every country of the world where marriage is a route to citizenship or permanent residency, because it's just your right to family life, which the law respects. If you have a family member you're going to marry, a spouse, then that spouse should be with you physically to raise children if you decide to or not, but just the right to have a loved one around you. But for the US, it's very important that we state that for anyone to marry a US citizen to get any immigration benefits, that person must have come to the US legally.
Okay.
Must
Talking
be a valid entry, that you were stamped at the point of entry. So, because I'm saying this very correct,
clearly.
Saying in the news that in recent times you have US veterans who have married people and their spouses have been dragged away from them. You've seen mothers deported to their various countries, and they are married to US citizens. The reason why their US spouses have not been able to file for them is because in the first place they did not come legally to the US. They were not stamped in by virtue of the law. Most people overstayed, probably gained asylum, and in the US eyes, asylum is not a legal status. It is not a legal status. So you must have come into the country stamped in at the point of entry. If you now overstay, it's a different kettle of fish. Or you initial state, you must have gotten a visa or whatever entry to come into the US. Then maybe your US citizen spouse will be able to file for you.
Okay, I'm getting confused now. You said those who come with what now? You said something about
so there's what you call asylum.
Asylum, yeah. So
yes.
So how would somebody come into the country, even if you're coming through asylum, and it's not going to come through the port of entry and the stamping there? You think somebody can just come in without? Because I'm getting confused, and I don't want any one of us to get confused. Even
so these are just legalese, That's the thing with law. We don't want to confuse people, but they are superstructures, quote and unquote, the way the law decides to define things.
Okay.
So let's break it down. For you to come into any country legally, the most common way is to have a visa. Right?
Okay, yeah, sure. You will go to your embassy, US embassy, country, get visa.
You apply, you fill forms, you declare, you tell them your intent, what you want to do. In most cases, you get interviewed or not, or you just submit documents which the visa officer is going to review and determine whether you get a visa or not. That is the visa process. You get your visa, you get on a plane, or maybe go by road, whichever way, you get to the point of entry.
Okay, good.
A visa essentially gives you the right to get on transportation, to travel. It is never an assurance
that you're going to be accepted to the country.
Yes. So it is just a right to travel. It is at the point of entry that the immigration officer determines, I accept you, everything checks out, come into the country.
And then welcome to the country.
Exactly. So the US government want people to go through this process to get here. When you go through that process, you get a visa, you come here, they stamp you, you get in, then you've come in legally from the start. Meanwhile, asylum process most of the time involves illegal entry, which means you never got a visa.
Okay, it's making clearer.
You never got a visa. You decided to come. Again, we are not condemning anybody. We are just
And again, sorry, let me quickly make this clarification. Clarification. Yeah, it's true. People coming with the reason why they recognize asylum is that we want to assume that if you are running away from danger, maybe there's a war, your life is being in danger, somebody's running after you. Absolutely, you're not going to have the time to say, I want to go and appear for visa and things like that.
Exactly.
That is the reason why you are running away.
Exactly. It is just humanitarian ground that you didn't have the time to go through the process, and you had to run away from persecution, from war, from anything. Then you did not get the prior authorization to come. Then when you got to the border, usually, then the custom officers would have to attend to you without having record of you, without being able to do the necessary checks.
Oh my God.
They will have to accept you. So even though asylum process is known under international law as one of the ways, it's just humanitarian. Let's be good. Let's take care of our neighbors. Let's shield people. But they will still give a stamp at that point. They will take all the records. But they are saying that for the fact that they did not get the opportunity to vet you from the start, they do not recognize it as legal entry.
Yeah.
So it creates a lot of problem, and I would say, please allow me do the devil's advocate here. Some people would say that since you've gotten to the border and immigration has stamped you in, yes, you have authority of the government to come in, so that should serve as entry. That's what some lawyers would say. Some other lawyers would say, no, you didn't give us the opportunity to vet you, even though there was danger and all of that. But as far as the immigration law is concerned in the US, and the court has not said otherwise, the Supreme Court has not said otherwise, as it is right now, is that a visa entry system or anything like a parole entry system that allows the government vet before you come into the country, that is what is known as authorized entry. Okay. Any other thing is not recognized as authorized entry. Of course, even for asylees, the government still has that decision to make later to say that, okay, we waive it. We waive whatever the law is saying, because of course, Sister Pamela, we agree that there are always exceptions in law.
Yeah.
And asylum is one of that exception. So it is just legalese. It depends on the administration in place. But the immigration law in the US, as it stands right now, is that asylum is not a legal status and it is not a legal entry, though it is a permitted one. We must state that.
I like that clarification. Thank you so much. So,
please, Pastor Banji.
Go ahead.
Brother Dr. is very spot on all the information he's provided.
I think so vast.
Yes, I kudos to him indeed. Yes. I should clarify that even though the initial mode of entry might be deemed illegal or unacceptable or unauthorized into the US, as it relates to asylum seekers and those coming in as refugees, nonetheless, they may be eligible to apply, as asylees or refugees, and they may be granted such status. So asylum status or refugee status, if they qualify, I think would be at least 1 year ago, if they came in 1 year prior. I mean, there are different rules that apply. So that would be one way, somebody can obtain green card or permanent residency. Yes, so that would be one way. I mean, other ways, like you did ask, would be through employment. It could be through as a special immigrant. For those
or starting your own business, because I've heard that people will start a business and eventually they can use that to prove to the US that, okay, I'm paying tax, I'm not a burden to the system, in fact, I'm contributing to the system, and eventually they can use that to get the permanent residency. Does any one of you? Okay, good.
That's true. And, there's one that is less talked about frequently, green card through registry. For those who have resided in the US since before January 1st, 1972. Wow. Based on that lengthy residency duration, they are eligible to apply to obtain the green card. Yeah. Also, victims of abuse, again, they have to meet the threshold, to ensure that they are indeed victims of abuse or human trafficking and crime victims, and even through family as well. We shouldn't forget that another way would be coming in through the green card lottery. I hope I got the name correctly. Some people would play the lottery from their country of origin, and if they're successful, they win the green card lottery. They are then allowed to fill the necessary documentation and then come in very quickly. So many of these categories for obtaining U.S. permanent residency, they do apply. But like Brother Dotun has said, this is limited, as he would speak further, because I know he has great information for listeners to the employment-based category. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, two of you. I really appreciate you. And then this is very, very important. And I love the way we are breaking it down, because we are not here to convince anybody. And at the same time, we are not here to give anybody visa here. We don't give visa. Oh, Dotun, are you ready to give me visa?
we wish we could help a lot of our people. We just want to educate so that...
And honestly, if I should get it right, what we are doing right now is part of help, because not everybody understands this. Even me, myself, as we are talking, I begin to understand, oh my God, I didn't know that all these opportunities are there. Because when people come in, they don't have paper, I say, well, I can't help you. I don't know what to say. If you get a paper, if you need job, maybe I can help you getting the job, but I don't know anything. So again, I really want to thank you. So Sister Pamela, we're still going to come back to this issue of RNG marriage, because I really want to know if there's any advantage and disadvantage of that. But hold on to that thought. Let us go back to our EB1, EB2 visa. So, Brother, let's break down the EB1, which is part of the first preference employment category we are talking about.
Yes, sir.
So, I want you to break that down properly, and then probably move on to tell me what are the things that whoever want to apply for that visa will need to do.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. So,
and then while you are discussing, sorry, Sister Pamela, if you have any information you want to put in there, please interject.
Sure.
Okay. So there about all this information are available online. You just Google EB1A visa. So there are about 10 criteria, but for the purpose of this discussion, we'll focus on 5. Okay. So one of the ways you are supposed to meet 3 out of the 10.
Wow.
But it is advisable to try to reach at least 5. 5. So I would say in meeting it, you need to think about the quality of your evidence as well as the quantity of your evidence, because you need to show, if anyone has ever had the opportunity to read any notice of intention to deny documents from USCIS or what you refer to as request for evidence, you would see that for the EB1A, the government is asking you to show throughout the period of your career that you have reached the top 1% of your profession. They are not asking you to show us all the awards you received in 1 year. They are not asking us to show you all the publications you received in 1 year. They are saying, show us your cumulative journey as a professional, that you have reached the top 1% in your field. And not just that you've reached the top 1% in your field, that you are well known
in your field.
So some of the criteria I want us to talk about here will be awards.
That's why the Bible says the kingdom of God suffereth violence, the violent take it by force.
So, for instance, you can show that you have awards or major prizes in your field. So for awards, this is a very tricky one. You cannot, the organization that is giving you this award must be a very notable organization.
A reputable organization.
That is the word, sir. Thank you. A reputable organization. You must show the caliber of people that have won this award in the past. The committee that decided this award through documentary evidence. You must show that, okay, I was given this award after 20 people. I'm just giving a number, not that.
Absolutely, yeah, sure.
Like 6 people were nominated, 8 people were nominated, and this were the reasons that the select committee that chose me decided that I am worth this award. Of course, it makes absolute sense to show the caliber of people that were on this select committee, because that would discuss the veracity, the authenticity of the process you went through before you got that award. So it must be a reputable award. And that organization should either be nationally known or internationally well recognized. So award is one of the way you can show. Another way you can show is that you are well published in your field. Publication alone can make you meet 2 criteria. The first one is that you've published articles in your field of expertise. You've written about broadcasting in Nigeria, for instance. You've written about nutrition in the field of pediatricians, for instance, nutrition that has to deal with children. You've written about it. And it's not only that you have publication of authoring a work in your field is one criteria. Secondly, you must show, it's a twin, I call it the twin criteria. Publication and the fact that that publication has significant impact in your field. So how do you show significant impact in your field? Citations. For any scholar, you know what you call the Google scholar. If I type your name, sir, Banji Lawal, I type it and you are an expert in broadcasting, USCIS want to know how many publications do you have over the years? These publications, have they been cited by other people, which shows your influence? So
on that field,
we should not restrict this thing to citation alone. A lot of people have restricted it to citation. No, it's not just about citation. There are other ways. There are other people that have written, that have published, but for one reason or the other, they are not cited a lot. Maybe because their work is not in very popular journals and all of that. What you can do is to show us the conferences that you presented these papers, the caliber of academia that were at these papers. Is there any way that your publication has led to any project within your field? So there are different ways you can show it. All the USCIS wants to see is that you've not only published, but that publication has an impact in your field that children can refer to, independent
students can refer to, professionals can refer to.
Exactly. So we can look for any ways. If you know that there are other people that have used your work, they've cited it, that is one of the ways we can use it. So that's publication. I've spoken about words, I've spoken about publications. Then newspaper publications. This time, newspaper publications about you and your work.
Meaning you have done something that really catch the attention of media, and they have to talk about you.
Exactly. So because for any notable, and not just any media, it has to be a notable media. Major media. In fact, that is the word of that criteria. Major media or other reputable media organizations that have written about you and your work. So, and of course, that will show the impact of your work in your field. Another way criteria is conferences or any public gathering where you
presented.
talk about your work.
You present your work, and then you
Yes.
you talk to the audience
Exactly.
about your
So,
profession.
because it is assumed that for you to make a major to be allowed to present in a major conference, then it means your work is what
That means you have authority in your work.
Exactly.
Good.
So you would have to show the history of that conference. How long has this conference been holding? What are the caliber of people that have presented? How are these people top in their field? So that will show the government a track record that for you to be invited to present your work at that conference, you are top. So these are just objective things that the government is trying to look at. So there are a number of things. Another one is that you have made significant contributions in your field. And this now is where a lot of businessmen, a lot of innovators, this is how they come in. If as a businessman, you can show me that you have a community project that has impacted the life of 5,000 people, that has led to job creation and all of that, you are telling the US government that if this person can do this in country XYZ, it means the chances of you
doing the same thing, performing better, even in a good environment.
Exactly. So these are some of the criteria we want to look at: conferences, awards, national or international media publications about you, publications that have major significance in your field. Then another one is critical role. If you're working for Banji Media, let's assume Banji Media is now top, which is the prayer that Banji Media is top 1% of the radio publishing houses in the US. And you can show me that you play a critical role in Banji Media. So the reputation of the organization and the critical role that you play in the organization, that is another criteria to meet. So you can see that I've mentioned about 7 criteria now. So the government is fair enough. They are saying, come show us via extensive evidence that you can meet at least 3. But we always advise that people can meet 4 or 5. Then after you meet all these criteria, the government will say that you have met the criteria, and they move to the next one. And the next one is what you call the final merit determination. The final merit determination. That is where I come in terms of quantity of the evidence that you have. If you've shown me that maybe the Punch has written about you, for instance, just one publication, and you've been practicing in your profession for 15 years. Everybody knows the Punch, the Guardian.
Exactly.
These are huge papers. But
Popular
if you have just one publication about you and you don't have other evidence to back that up, then it becomes a bit of.
And honestly, let us be realistic with ourselves. That means it will be the thinking will be that can probably be like RNG publication from that newspaper, because I don't see how you'll be popular that one newspaper will be the only one publishing about you. That's a good one.
So the government will now think about a combination of all of these factors. They want to see growth from, if you've practiced for 5 years. Don't get me wrong, people that have practiced for 5 years have gotten EB1A. The government just wants to see that from the point you started till the point that you are applying for your EB1A, they've seen steady growth in your career. And in that your career, you've gotten to the top 1%, arguably top 1% of your profession. And one trick I always tell people is to know when to expand the field and when to narrow the field. A very good example, if you're claiming as, let me use my field, since that is what I know the most. You're claiming to be a lawyer, that you've reached the top 1% as a lawyer, and you're from Nigeria, for instance. everybody will know if you're from Nigeria. Then you should be the senior part of body of the senior advocate of Nigeria. That is the award I'm talking about. So for you to be a senior advocate of Nigeria, it's a big deal.
Of course, you must have done a lot of things in the field of law.
Exactly. So that is a very great evidence on its own. But as a young aspiring lawyer, you are not a SAN. You've not reached that field. So one of the ways you can show it is, I'm an expert at health law. As far as health law is concerned, I, Madam Pamela, am the number one. How can I show the government that? Okay, the Punch has written about me, Guardian has written about me, Vanguard has written about me, The Sun has written about me, and all these publications were written about me in the first 5 years of my career, and I'm applying this on the 5th year. They can see that trajectory, the growth trajectory. And they combine all of these things together. That will make for a convincing evidence. Of course, they will combine it with the fact that you've made publications in the field of health law, where you claim to be your expertise. They will look at the conferences you've gone for, both in Nigeria and abroad, or anywhere, which are of major significance. So all of these factors is what the adjudicator will look at to say that, of a truth, Mrs. A, Mrs. B has reached the top 1% of the field. So you narrow the field where you claim to be an expert, and where possible, you also expand the field to show that you've made major achievements. So those are some of the critical ways we can show it.
Thank you, Mr. Dotun. I want to hold on your thoughts right there for me. Sister Pamela, from what Dotun is saying here, this kind of looking so complicated, probably difficult, probably there's no way majority of people can get to this. Could that be the reason why people always opted for this matchmaking or arranging marriage?
Well,
because we can see so many professionals that is talking about that they are very good in their field, but probably down the line they didn't have all this. They say, you know what, I don't want to go through this headache. Doctor, I know you are shaking your head. You want to tell me if it's not that difficult, because probably you know somebody who did it. So Sister Pamela, go ahead.
Well, people would go into marriages for a myriad of reasons, but like Brother Dotun has said, you know, getting the employment-based visa or getting the permanent residency through the EB1 route, serious-minded scholars, they would stay with it no matter how daunting the process is. I'm sure he can testify to how challenging the process was, but he was confident knowing that he qualified for it, and of course there was that divine providence that, you know, played a part in his getting the residency, the permanent green card. So for some people, they might think, oh, this is just too lengthy, I don't have all the evidence, I don't have all this time to wait, why don't I just do the one which is so common through marriage.
And I like the word you just used. Sorry that I tried to cut you. I like the word you just used now, that it's lengthy to wait, which I don't think so, but finish what you are saying. I want to throw that question to Dotun. If it's so lengthy, if it takes forever to do it, go ahead, madam.
It's prestigious, devoid of, you know, any, if one is very
thorough,
forthright, you wouldn't want to taint your work. If you've worked too hard, why would you want to then put evidence which would disqualify you if it's found out? And again, being a Christian, that's Brother Dawson is, he wouldn't want to mingle lies with truth. It just taints the whole thing. So if you've started on a good note, you know, followed on that trajectory until the very end, and with God in the picture, you will get it. So some people might find the whole process lengthy, or they might not be able to provide all the evidence, because they provide the evidence and, you know, it's thrown out, they need something stronger, and they think to themselves, well, I'll just go get married. Again, nothing wrong with getting married to obtain a green card if the motive is right. I have a personal problem where the motive is wrong. You know, you're here illegally, and because you have been told, just marry a citizen. And you really know deep down inside of you that you really don't love this person. You just want to get attached to this person to get something from that person, which is, the green card. And after which time you would send the person away. It's already a preconceived notion you have. And then you speak love to this person. The person thinks you're coming from a genuine angle and throws in their lot with you. And once you get the green card, the person who has now gotten the green card begins to bring up stories. I don't like you anymore. I don't want you anymore. And looking for ways to cause a friction and, of course, their eventual separation and stuff like that. I do have a problem with that because as children of God, it's not the right way to go. I think that if people have done that, then they have something to answer with God. Some people might say, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, God. God, you will forgive me. God expects, yes, he will forgive you. But he also expects, as I understand it, you must make restitution to the people you have obtained this residency, this permanent residency from. And look at that. At the time you were signing all the papers, you were signing under the penalty of perjury, stating that this is a bona fide marriage. You love yourselves. You have submitted documents to evidence that this is a proper marriage and all of that. But deep down inside one of the parties, or sometimes both parties, when they collude, because both parties, they're just in pari delicto, they're all wrong, they're doing it for monies and they've arranged for some illegal benefits like that, then that's where there's problem. And for those who engage in such endeavor, they have to rethink. There are other ways. Just like Brother Dotun has said, he used the EB1 route and it was a success. And with diligence, the Bible requires us to be diligent. We'll get it.
Apart from that, even though the spiritual aspect is very crucial and it's very important, because again, whether we rich, whether we poor, we are going to go somewhere, we are going to give account of our life. But what about the implication? So take for example now, let's say I want paper and I don't care. And I see this woman, even though I don't like her, I don't want her. So she now say pay me and I pay her. But down the line now say, you know what? I'm not going to continue until you have something to do with me. How do we reconcile that? When I say do with me, we're on the air, I'm not going to say it clear, but you understand what I'm saying. That because we do know a man and a woman, I must especially when you claim to be married, there's tendency that probably there'll be a time that you are together, moving together, driving together to court, and then something lead to another. This man say, or this man say, you know what? I don't think I want to continue with this thing. If you don't sleep with me, I'm not doing anymore.
Yes, you've hit the nail on the head, and I'm quite impressed about that. Consortium is one of the incidents of marriage, having the benefit of one another, of each other, forgive me, since there are two parties here. Mm-hmm. So one party denying the other party of consortium or the right to the other person, to the right to consortium, I should say, then that's not right. Mm-hmm. If from the get-go there was a problem which would affect consummation of that marriage, mm-hmm. that party who had the problem ought to inform the party without the innocent party of that problem, and then that other party, the innocent party, can make up their mind as to whether they would still like to get into this relationship knowing that disability. But
again, don't forget too that we are talking about arranged one, not that they truly love each other.
Yes, I'm coming there, Pastor Banji. So
okay,
with your illustration, one party, both parties have gone into this marriage that it will be an arranged marriage,
exactly,
and
to just get paper.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps both of them might have colluded. They know that it's not for real, but they will pretend it's for real and pretend to the government just to get it. And perhaps one party is paying the other in cash or in kind. And down the road, one party is now saying, you know what, I will no longer continue with this process if you don't let me have access to your body. If that happens, at the end of the day, it depends on how things go. If it's reported to the authorities, of course, that type of marriage cannot be enforced. Two parties entered into into that marriage knowing that they were going to circumvent immigration benefits. You can't then employ the hand of the law. to help you enforce that.
That's it.
Sometimes it's hard because the person who has the upper hand, that's the person who has the legal
status,
trying to help the person without the papers. That person might be threatening to pull out or not participate in the ongoing interviews and the process, in general. So if that's the person who is threatening to pull out because the innocent party or the other party doesn't want to, oblige them with intimacy, it's quite unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where so many factors would have to come in. If it's ever brought to the court will not help both parties who have entered into this type of affair or into this type of arrangement with the aim of circumventing immigration benefits. And not my words, circumventing immigration benefits. The court will not help them out in that whole thing. They'd have to then look at it. Did you really enter this for real? What are the bona fides of this relationship you've entered into? Yeah, so that's how I would approach it. I'm sure Brother Dotun has, something else to add, because I know he's seen it all as an expert in this field. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have anything to say about that? Because the reason why I asked that question is just because of what Sister Pamela was talking about. It's wrong. It's not right. Don't do it if you know you don't love this person. But because people need something, they don't care. But down the line, when the implication comes, it now becomes a problem. Like we are saying now, if eventually you say, you know what, I don't care. If you want to do anything, do it. And in the process, that union consummates to having a child they are not bargaining for, the child that they don't want. What could be the implication of that, and what things like that can subject the life of that child into so much trauma and trouble. So, Dr. go ahead before I give my own submission.
so this I would want to answer your question based on my own personal experience, and I think since this is a Christian channel, I think this would be allowed. And that's why I feel led to share this here. So, you're very correct. You and Sister Pamela, you've been very spot on. Marriage is a very is a sanctimonious institution, and it's a vessel for God to do a lot of great things in our lives. It's a vessel. It's an avenue for God to birth a lot of great things as in our lives, and it's not something we should take for granted. Again, we know that necessity is the mother of invention. And we truly wish that some of these immigration laws are a bit relaxed. Let's be very factual. They're a bit relaxed, that there are better pathways to citizenship, to green cards and everything. But I'm sharing this because I came into this country and I lost a lot of friends. I was under severe pressure to go ahead, and most immigrants will know this route. It's marriage or nothing. You see people that will tell you like
if you have paper, that's why you have to stay in the country.
And that's not necessarily true, because God in his infinite mercies will always make a way. I've seen a lot of mercy on this road. Coming to this United States, I've experienced a lot of mercy. And I have to say, we are educating people to know that, please, as long as you are still in legal status in the United States, before you engage in things that will compromise your life for the rest of your life, please think about other legal means to get married. If you're here, you came in here legally, you can wait to genuinely fall in love with someone, a partner that you can.
And it's possible. It's very possible, because the chemistry can work together.
Exactly. So that is a way. Just make sure you came into this country legally to be able to benefit from that. Another one is this employment part, the EB1A that we are talking about. Again, you have to be in legal status before you file. And the thing is, I told God, as I heard from God, fly blind, come to the United States. And when you're flying blind, it means you're not seeing the things ahead of you.
Yeah, I don't see the problem.
You don't see the problems and everything. It was as the journey unraveled that every time that word fly blind had me on the journey, I held on to it, because truthfully, I wasn't thinking of coming to the United States. I was thinking of European countries, Sweden, Denmark, where I could go with my family and just, grow in my career and still have the support and support of my wife and child at the time, before we eventually had the second one. And it was really difficult, being without family. But my wife stood her ground and say, if you could get 2 scholarships to the US that God did miraculously, that same God will provide a path to your green card.
That's faith.
And along the line, at the time I came into the United States, I knew nothing about the EB visa. That's the truth. Legislations change. That is the place of prayer. Legislations change to move it from only STEM. Before, it used to be only STEM programs. That's science, technology,
engineering,
and the Biden administration expanded it to say every single field, as long as you can prove to us that you are either extraordinary, if you are EB1A in your field, and you can you can impact something in the US economy, or you are exceptional in your field if it's EB2, and you can impact something in your field. So I looked at all these factors. Yes, is it tough to get the EB1A? Absolutely. Because let's think about it. They are saying, come and prove that you are top 1% in your profession. And you will know very well, as Nigerians, we are not great, or Africans, we are not
keeping records.
So some of these things I had to reach out to a lot of people I've worked with in the past, and a lot of people were kind enough to bring all of these records. And I
remember you have to go through the interview you have had in the past, go to the archive of newspapers and all that. Because I remember you were telling me all those things in those days.
Oh, it's a lot of work, like Sister Pamela rightly said. You have to be diligent, cross your T's, dot your I's. I submitted, I was told, you meet 3 criteria, you need to submit more evidence. And I was in absolute shock, because I submitted over 10 reams of paper, my first application, prayed and said, God, everything is in your hands. And when I got it back, I saw a lot of things that I was asked to say, you didn't submit this, you didn't submit. And I absolutely submitted all of that. And I had just 1 month to submit again. In fact, the fact that I could even submit the paper itself was a miracle. I almost passed the deadline by a day, because I had just a very short time to come up with all the evidence. But in all of this, the point I'm trying to make is that the God factor is very, very important. We must do our work. As Christians, we say A, B, C, D, but God will do it. Does not mean God has not given you the brain to sit down. Our God is an excellent God, sir. Exactly. I remember as a child, the first I tell you, sir, I learned to read with the Bible. And one thing that is so profound was when I was reading, when God was giving David the description of how to build the house of God. It was absolutely mind-blowing. Every detail was in that.
And not only that, anytime sorry, I don't mean to cut short. Not even David only. Even when he called Noah, he gave him details about it. When he wanted to tell Moses on how to prepare anointing oil, he gave him details of what he needs to do.
So our God is a very detailed God. He expects excellence from us, and the best we can do is to, this common saying, do your best and leave the rest.
Rest to God.
That do your best, you must make sure it is really your best.
Yes.
It is not shabby work. We have these people who have done all I can do. I cannot come and die. I cannot come and kill myself. Please, if there's no other way, do an excellent job and give God the rest. It's God that breathes on things and makes it come up. It's God that would make these achievements. At the end of the day, I don't know what USA I saw in my application that made them approve it, or so many people. And I can tell you, sir, a lot of people have been approved, as difficult as it seems.
It is.
A lot, yes. I belong to so many groups on WhatsApp. A lot of people are being approved, people that have between 5 years to 10 years experience. By the time you really sit with your achievement over the years, and even truthfully, if you're very objective to say that I have not met ABC criteria, give yourself a year or two to meet some of those criteria and add it. Because I applied, I started building some of the profiles 2 years even before I applied. When there were certain things I knew I did not have, I just had to wait the period. Okay, get this, get that. And it is achievable. It is achievable. It's important that we do not make decisions that will impact our life. So one of the things I was trying to say is that I kept on telling God, I do not want to lose my marriage in the process of getting US citizenship. Yes, it's not trying to condemn people. I've seen a lot of people, they may be economically buoyant, but they are not happy. And marriage is not something you miss. You really need to be led by God. So if you already have a significant other like myself, you already have a family like myself before you came into the US, and the only point of you thinking that, there's no other way than paper, please, I beg you, sir and ma, especially if you are still in legal status, please consider the EB1A, EB2 NIW route.
Yeah, and that will bring us to the next one, that EB2. Meanwhile, again, you are listening to Let's Talk Immigration. My name is Banji Lawal. I have here Sister Pamela, and then I have Dotun. Now, we know that our time is almost fast spent, but that doesn't mean we are not going to give the details that we need to give. If I need to make this talk show like part 1, part 2, I'll be more than happy to do that, because our mission is to give people what they need. Having talked extensively about EB1, and then we've talked about matchmaking. I'm not going to use the word arrange, because that's not like that. It's a colloquial way of telling people that what I'm doing is arrange, which we are going to come back and advise people on that. Now, tell me about EB2, and then tell me the what people need. Who are the ideal people that are likely to benefit from EB2? Dr. I know you are an expert in this because you have gone through it.
So
and then I need to quickly let people know, he's lawyer from Nigeria, but he bagged masters here. I think 2 masters in US, right? Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And 1 in Britain.
Yes, sir.
So don't worry, you can say whatever you are saying. Go ahead.
That's by the grace of God. So the EB2 National Interest Waiver, as it says, National Interest Waiver, the US has waived its interest. So ordinarily, any employment-based visa, you need what you call there's a normal test. The name can't come to my mind. The labor test, yes. The labor test, which should show that that company has advertised the job that they want to give you as a foreign professional. They are unable to find any professional in that field. And that is why
field within the US.
Within the US.
Okay,
yes,
good.
Sir. Within the US or within that state. Within that state, within the US. They will have to show that they've advertised it, people have applied for it, and they do not qualify for it. And that is how they are giving it out. That is the normal employment-based visa. That is companies applying for people, right? all these EB visas that we are talking about, they are self-sponsored visas. That means the applicant is applying by themselves without a company sponsoring them. Most of this EB1A, you self-petition. That was the word I was looking. You're self-petitioning that I'm an expert in my field. I vouch for myself. These are my achievements. Come and see it. And the government will say, we agree with you. We approve. That's EB1A. EB2, you are saying that. Meanwhile, EB1A, again, let me go back to it. You just must have a degree. Of course, it makes more sense if you have at least a postgraduate degree.
Maybe masters.
If a master's and you show other achievements. But the law doesn't say that. The law just says that you are a professional, you're an expert. So at least if you have a degree in your field and you can now show very extensive achievements throughout your working career, most times you will see that people that have maybe just a degree and they've worked maybe 7-10 years, they have a lot of achievements, they may be able to meet that requirement. But often than not, most people that have that EB1A, they are doctors, multiple master's holders, single master's holders, and they have a lot of achievements. Now coming to the EB2.
Yeah.
National interest. You are telling, so people that usually get these awards are, you just need to, the minimum requirement for it again is a master's in your field. That is the minimum requirement for the EB2 NIW. But there is another requirement. If you have a bachelor's degree and you have 5 years experience,
Yes, okay.
bachelor's degree plus 5 years experience in your field, that will qualify you for the EB2. I need to put a caveat at this point. In recent time, in the last 2 years, we've seen people that applied from outside the country going through the consular processing, that after their petition were approved, they got to the stage of intervening to come to the US, and they were denied visa on the basis that they did not have a master's degree. That happened very recently on 1 or 2 occasions. So we cannot say for sure if this is a trend, but it is advisable that at least have a master's degree
In order to be on the good,
on the safe side. But if you have a bachelor's degree, make sure you have extensive experience in your field. So the people that will qualify for this again will be people that are experts generally in their fields. But let's consider scientists and medical researchers, for instance, tech innovators and startup founders, public health experts, education reformers, environmental leaders, faith-based humanitarian workers with community impact. But every field qualifies, sir. That is what I love most about both the EB1A and the EB2. Just show the US via publication, maybe Congress has written something about your field to show that, okay, maybe you're an expert in artificial intelligence, for instance. You can show that, the US Congress has spoken about how artificial intelligence is going to be maybe a multi-billion-dollar industry, which it is already. Things that government agencies have written about that field, things that very reputable organizations in the US have written about that field. Essentially, you are making a case to the government that from these organizations, government itself, the presidency has said this, reputable organizations have said it, that my field is a very important field in the US. You have to show them that it is in the US national interest to allow you come to the US and make an impact in the US. Now, you are not saying that they do not have enough experts in the US in that field. Even if America has 5 million experts in that field, you are saying I can still contribute to it. Thank you very much, sir. So that is what this field, this category is all about. Show us in whatever profession that you belong, in whatever expertise that you have, that there is an established evidence that your field is very critical to the US. It is in the US national interest to allow you make a contribution, and of course that you have the necessary qualifications to function in that field. Then via your experience, you would have to show by your trajectory again, going by all the things you've achieved in your field, wherever you are from, the growth you've made in your career and everything. So we can throw the kitchen sink when it comes to the employment-based visa. Anything comes, anything objective, you can show via recommendation letters, you can show via awards, you can show via publications about you, you can show it via critical contributions you've made, very significant contributions you have made in your field. So it's a visa that is quite open, and you just have to prove to the US government that it is in their national interest
that you are applying for this.
Okay. Exactly.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Sister Pamela, is there any kind of implication you are noticing in all this discussion? Because again, both of you are lawyers, so, and I know lawyers looking for evidence, and
well,
I'm good to win. So me, I'm not a lawyer, so please.
Thanks again.
Is there any kind of implication or things that people need to pay attention to? Again, we are not here to say you are going to get it if you try it, but is there anything they can just be very careful about as they are doing this, so that their chance of winning can be greater? Go ahead, Mama.
Very good question, Pastor Banji. I think Brother Dotun has touched a bit on some of these things. I would just like to bring to the fore, try not to get into any sort of crime. Any sort of crime that would dwindle the person's chances of getting citizenship or even the green card. And then if you go on benefits, that again might not be in your interest overall. When you get on means benefit, going on welfare and all of those things.
Maybe getting Section 8, food stamp and all that.
Yeah, that might water down, that has the effect of watering down the strength of your application. So things like don't commit a crime, you don't want to burden the welfare system, and be of good conduct, of course. And if you think, like Brother Dotun has said, you are running out of time, make sure you do your best to be in continuous legal status. Some people have been very, wise, I'd call that wise, to ensure they're doing something that would keep them in status. Some would go to school, some would do things that would ensure that they remain in legal status.
Sorry, I'm not trying to cut you, and there's nothing wrong in that, because if you're supposed to be in school, you need to be in school. Law permits it, that should continue. Again, it's going to cost you money. Absolutely, you know what you are looking for, because like we have been saying, as long as you remain in that legal status, there's a greater chances of getting all these things done. So you just have to make sure you maintain your legal status. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I just want to put that in there. So thank you so much, both of you. Sorry,
I need to add this quickly, sir, and we should have said this from the beginning. Please. So the good thing about both the EB1A and the EB2 is that they are both 10-year green cards. 10-year green cards when you get them. Yes, they are both 10-year green cards. But the only the difference in both of them is that the EB1A is current. So what it means about the implication of that visa being current is that immediately you are approved, you are eligible to either adjust your status, if apply for your green card immediately. In fact, you are eligible to adjust your status immediately you are approved. In fact, you can even apply concurrently, which means at the time you're applying for your EB1A, you can apply for the green card at the same time.
Oh, wow.
You can apply for it at the same time, but it is advisable. Why it is okay to apply for the EB1A and the green card at the same time is that sometimes people are almost running out of time.
Okay.
And as long as those applications can go in together at the same time, that may be a way of them preserving their legal status. The advantage of that is it allows you to preserve your legal status. The disadvantage is, God forbid, that application gets denied. For any reasons, then the I-485 will be wasted. So that takes me to the second point, that it is better you apply for the EB1A, you get approved, and immediately after approval, you can apply to adjust your status. However, if you are outside Nigeria, outside the US, if you're outside the US, then you have to do what they call the consular processing. That is a different kettle of fish. This program will not allow us to discuss that when the time is right.
We'll come back and just note it down.
So the consular process just means that you'll be applying from outside the US, anywhere you are based. You can either apply from your
home country,
or you go to another country where you have legal residence, where you have a genuine interest to go and apply. That's the consular section, but it's from outside of the US. The EB2, however, there is a wait time. So when you get approved, on the average, it changes. Right now, you may have to wait for about 2 years or more
to get the green card,
eligible to apply for the green card.
Wow. So if you are now approved, what would that person be doing within that 2 years?
Exactly. So most people, that's why we say, by all means, keep your legal status. Make sure whatever you go to school, that is if you're a student. If there are other ways of depending on, we cannot exhaust the legal status that people are, but just make sure you have a kind of legal status. But for people outside of the US, they are not under pressure. All they know is that as long as they are approved, they just have to wait it out. When is their time? The National Visa Center of the Department of State will send them the letter to say, it is your time, come and apply for your green card.
So for those who are already in the US, that is where it is more challenging.
Yes, for those who are already in the US, for the EB2, they will have to find a way to keep themselves in status. And God forbid, if it's too expensive to stay in status, by all means, please, you can probably go back home or go to another country, stay there for 2 years, and when it's time, you apply. I know that's not it's not a very popular thing to say, but you should.
No, sorry. It's not that it's not popular thing to say. It's very difficult to say.
It's very difficult
because nobody wants to be in the state and then say, "Let me go back home." It's going to be challenging.
Exactly, but the most important thing is you don't want to get that approval, then become ineligible to apply for the green card, because you must still be eligible. It's a 2-stage process. You must get approved for, which is the I-140, before you can now apply for the green card. So both of them are 10-year green cards, and they offer a lot if only we'll be diligent. Thank you so much, sir, for this opportunity. Again, we pray that the Lord of hosts, the Lord of mercy, prevails over us. He inspires us to do the right thing. We just do not want families scattered. We don't want destinies shattered in the name of seeking greener pastures.
Thank you so. Yeah, you go ahead if you still have anything.
I want to say something about
go ahead, please.
Brother Dotson had said so. For the EB1A category, no job offer is required. So he's petitioning, as of rights, and of course, no labor certification is needed as well.
Absolutely.
That of the EB2, by way of summary, which Brother Dotson has touched on excellently well, as we understand it, it's for those who have the advanced degree, exceptional ability in sciences, arts, or even business, and For the EB2 applicants, they require a permanent labor certification and a US job offer. However, as mentioned, in the national interest, there could be that national interest waiver. It thereby waives the job offer and the permanent labor certification requirement. All right, but that petitioner must show that their work has substantial merit and is of national importance, and they are well positioned to advance the proposed endeavor. And of course, it's in the U.S. national interest to waive the job offer and the labor certification. Yeah, so I think with those two distinctions, this would really help our listeners. And again, Brother Dotton's story is so apt. It's so interesting for such a time as this. I know one might say, well, he was just favored by God, but that's what our position is as children of God.
That's a good one. If somebody is favored, is it bad if I'm favored too? Me too, I want to be favored.
No, what God does for one, he does for all. But
everybody,
he mentioned all the ingredients. God has already assured us of success, but he expects us to be diligent. And he left no stone unturned. He did everything he could do, and left the rest to God. Above all, we hear what he did say, that he heard God initially. This is going to be a blind fly. So he was operating under divine instructions. How it would happen or how it would materialize, he just didn't know, but he held on to God's word. And as we know, God's word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. And there is no person who has held onto God's word that has ever lost their way. So that's what he did in his own case. And for those who might be thinking of, a way to subvert the whole process or to do it in a non-God glorifying way, this is an avenue for them to rethink the whole process, knowing that there are ways to actually get it right.
Thank you so much. I really love that motherly advice. And then as we have said, again, we are not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm not going to tell you don't do RNG or do RNG. It's between you and yourself and your God. So, and then I always say something, may God never let us be in a situation where we need something. When we're in danger of losing something or not getting what we need, there's likelihood that we are going to eat from our enemy. So my prayer is that God in his infinite mercy will be with you if you are listening to us right now or watching us. Whatever may be your heart desire concerning your legal status, God will make way for you in the precious name of Jesus Christ. And what we are saying is that whatever you want to do, please don't puncture your soul. Don't injure your soul, because if you may gain the whole world and lose your soul. So what's the benefit? So whatever you want to do, think twice. And then talking about RNG, most especially you woman that went to one useless man and say you want to do RNG, did they say you want to do? Probably you have spent a whole lot of money and you cannot say no. Think about the regret you are going to be having in the process. So we're advising you that please bring everything to your God, and God will show you the path of success. Remember, the Bible said the Lord is the earth and the fullness thereof, those that dwelleth in it. So if God is the owner of everything, he can enter into any man to change things for you if you are favored.
Exactly.
He said the heart of the king is in the hand of God, and as a water turneth, he can turn it to whatever he wants. So if you have this understanding and you have this belief, I think God can do anything for you. Again, we are not saying go and lay back and say it's going to happen one day. No. But Dr. said, he said, just keep on doing something. Be excellent in what you are doing. Hook up some stuff. Do research. You'll be surprised that in the process, God will begin to unfold to you step by step of what you need to do to get there. That's why we are here this hour. That's why we are here this moment. We are not here to condemn anybody, and we are not here to tell anybody what to do. But we are just here to help. And we pray that God will help you in the precious name of Jesus Christ. So again, I want to use this opportunity to thank my two guests here for the excellent job they have done with this discussion. And I really want to thank you so much. And I really want to say God be with you. As you are doing this, because nobody is being paid, I'm not paying you. I wish I could. It's like a volunteering job, but the point is that as you are doing it for people, anyone that benefit from this, they will never curse you. They will pray for you. And I pray that God will continue to be with you. He'll be with your family, and your own heart desire to God be there to supply it for you.
Amen.
In the precious name of Jesus Christ. So as we are closing this moment again, the title of our discussion tonight has been Let's Talk Immigration, which I give the other alternative title by saying Understanding U.S. Employment-Based Visa, EB1A and EB2 National Interest Waiver. It's mouthful, but go and do research, go and get more information. So all the link, all the things that probably we would talk about, I will try to put it in the description. And then please, somebody, I did something like this one time with when I had it with Sister Joanne. Somebody comes from Nigeria and say, "Oh, how can I apply for visa? How do I know that?" That was how we put the link there. So you go to the link, click the link, do your research. So that's what we are talking about. You don't sit down and say, "Well, how can you get visa?" We have been talking about it. So you go and do your own research and get more information.
So would it be how can they get a visa, or how can they get
no, it
permanent stay in the US?
He didn't even put it that way. Sir, how do I get to US? That's the question they asked me. He said, "I'm a technician, something. How can I get to US?" And I say, the starting point is you go to the link I put in the description and go and do research. So if you have any question after that, let's talk. But he never got him back to me. He won't.
You don't blame him or other people who might toe that path, because not everybody is learned or would have that analytical mind to digest all the jargon written. Yeah. So they will need some person who is an expert in that field that can break it down to them and tell them the options. You know, it's when they tell, for instance, the attorney who's an expert in that field, you know, what they want, the attorney will then provide the strategy to achieving that means, which that immigrant would like. So yeah, in addition to the information below, they should consult with an immigration attorney who would help them. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And that's a good one too, because when you consult with an immigration attorney, he will give you the nitty-gritty of what you need. In fact, you don't even need to do much research. You must have done the research. You just give instruction of what to do. Thank you so much.
To just add to what everybody is saying, I want us to be a bit realistic. A lot of people cannot even afford to pay attorneys, and there is a lot of information on
That's
YouTube.
Another thing.
There's a lot of information on YouTube, and we will try as much as possible to include many links. And I really want to plead with people that if you know you can't afford it, just do a bit of research. There are videos. I know a lot of people cannot spend their time reading, but there are so many videos on YouTube that you say, "How do I get a visa? How do I do this? You will see videos." So just watch them, and that will be a guide. Then if eventually you hit a Waterloo, or you know that you truly cannot do it, then of course you would have to consult an attorney. But I know a number of people have gone through all of this process, and they've never they didn't use an attorney. As long as you can read and write, you should be able to do some of these things by yourself. But I totally agree with Sister Pamela that we are going to provide as much information as possible. But we beg our people to read. There are people that have said, I don't mean to be racist. I'm a black man myself. They say if you want to hide something from a black man,
put it in the book.
Write it down. We should.
That was in those days. So these days now, we are on the information highway. Unless you're lazy, even if you cannot read, you can listen.
A lot of people are still lazy, sir.
But the problem we have now is that instead of people to pay attention to what will benefit their life, all they are doing is social, all this nonsense.
I mean, I belong to I belong to a lot of groups. We break information down.
Can you believe that?
You'll be amazed.
You are going to give me the information of that group. I will put it in the description too. Let them join the group.
We break information down.
Let them join the group.
We tell people, look at this A, B, C, D. And people will not look at it.
They won't.
And they will ask those questions. And these are graduates, ma.
Exactly.
Graduates. These are people with PhDs. And I'm wondering what's really going on here. So as much as, we should get attorneys involved if you can afford it. But I know most people cannot afford it. That's why I'm saying that. Just take your time and just read. Watch YouTube. If you're not a reading person, then you should be able to watch videos.
To watch video or listen to
audio. Listen to this podcast as well.
Listen to this podcast too.
Yeah. If you can't do anything, I don't know how else we can help.
That's what we are saying. You see, like take for example now, I have all these gadgets in my studio. I do so many things. How do I get it? I didn't go to any school for how to operate audio. Everything's on YouTube there. I know how many hours I spent on researching on how do I connect this, how do I configure this. If you need something, you better pay attention. I know when you get there, you see somebody dancing. If you are not careful, you just be distracted and go and look for dancing. By the time you finish that, you want to sleep. And then your immigration status is hanging. May God help you. We have said our own, and I know so many people, they are saying the same thing. Please give it what it takes. And I can guarantee you, the more you put in, the better the result you get. All right. Again, I want to thank you, two of you. I really appreciate you. And I want to use this opportunity again to thank all our listeners who will be listening on the Banji Media Radio, or those who will be watching this program on the YouTube. And then I'm going to prepare this as a podcast. It's going to be on Spotify. We have presence on Spotify too. So if you want to be driving and be listening, it's a great opportunity for you. It will be on the Spotify. Again, it's going to be the same title. All right. Thank you so much. Love you all, and we wish you all the best. And we know that God has prepared a place for you here. That was why you had the opportunity to enter successfully without being returned back. So the rest, God will do it for you in the precious name of Jesus Christ. So thank you all. As we are signing off, I say have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Mama.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.